Should play a little bit of Jim Morrison here, Riders on a Storm, with Hurricane Sandy coming in. But Hurricane Sandy offers a very good analogy as to why you're buying silver. And it's not strictly an investment. It is an investment, and then again, it isn't. It's actually for dire emergency times. Well, let me put it this way. Some of the things I have said in the past have been more than accurate, I think. Not 100% perfect, but I did say that silver, I expected it to actually bottom around 24, 25. I was not expecting it to go to 20, 18, 15, that type of stuff. A lot of people were predicting back in the year around June when everything was crashing, everything was looking bad, even in July. I figured it was going to go solidly below 26. Not a perfect call, but hey, it wasn't too bad because it just bounced around 26 for a very long time. That turned out to be the case. Now, when the silver rallied quite a bit and it was up over 35, I produced something about don't trust this rally. A lot of people said, actually a lot of people didn't like that. Well, I don't know. It wasn't that most people didn't like it, but there was a lot of people, a significant number of people, didn't like hearing that. But it turned out to be dead on balls accurate, actually. Silver started having a pullback. And then I bought some more silver, but I didn't buy it as low as it is today and on the ETFs. Now, what I've been stating, that is, I don't think silver's going below 30. Now, today, that's an unrelated story. Today, silver's actually, it's taken somewhat of a pullback, and it's actually somewhat been stabilizing out a little bit too. But I think where you're going to see the major impetus for the metals to start moving up is after the elections. After the elections, I don't know if I think Romney's going to win, but it's going to be very close. It's not going to be like this easy win. No way. But if I had to take a winner right now, I think it's going to be Romney. But even if Obama wins, I still think it's going to be good for the markets. Once this election's resolved, the markets are going to go up, and you're probably going to see gold maybe hit an all-time record high by January 2013. Probably. That's what I'm going to be thinking. So, for investment purposes, actually, times like right now for buying gold and silver, even though you might be thinking, a lot of people are saying it's going to go lower, it's going to go lower. I don't think it's going to go much lower. I think the hard pullbacks, going to occur after we see some real fake-out high rises in the metals. So, I got other reasons for thinking this, but, quite obviously the biggest reason would be the fiscal cliff. Now, one thing I want to point out, since Hurricane Sandy's coming up, it may be a non-event. It doesn't seem to be a non-event, that's for sure, but it is going to be a very, very large storm. But the reason you buy silver is also for catastrophic events too. It could be the only thing you might be using as money sometime in the future. Sounds crazy, but sometimes some things crazy happen every once in a while. It might be every 50 years, maybe 100 years. I don't know. But we seem to be coming into some kind of crazy times. Now, I want to point out very briefly a story. It's actually on Yahoo. I guess it was posted from Reuters, but just to give you the headline, I'll display the link. It's really unrelated to silver, but it's a very, very good analogy, and as the reason why you partly buy silver. It's not purely an investment. It's an emergency type of backup thing that you would do for your investments. Storm sets off frantic rush for supplies across the East Coast, goes the headline of the story, considering talking about Hurricane Sandy. And it goes on, it say, good luck buying lanterns, generators, propane, or if you're really unprepared, rain boots and batteries in areas in the path of Hurricane Sandy as it bears down on the U.S. East Coast. Now, my whole point on this is not about the storm itself, but this is really a great analogy as to why you buy silver. It's not purely an investment, not purely. Now, actually, I stated, you should buy supplies like generators and food and things like that before you buy silver. But, silver falls into another camp that is, it's a safety net for some of your wealth. Not 100% of your wealth, but some of it. There's no doubt about that. Now, as we approach this this uncertain time with Hurricane Sandy, um, look how fast it came up on people. People were warned. Were not people warned? I mean, this is human nature. Were people warned? Yes. They were telling you it's the Frankenstorm last week. What are they doing? They're rushing out to the stores right now. And this is probably the same type of deal that's going to happen with silver. They were warned. They were warned. I know, and I've been very critical of a lot of silver bloggers because they're over emotional, and I don't know. Sometimes I think they're playing with the people that are on the top, the silver sharks on the top. They get the middle class to buy hot and heavy when it's really high. But as a middle class person, you should have some silver, some. Not 100% of all your money in it, but some. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And the reason is, good example, a financial hurricane comes up, the Frankenstorm of the, whatever. The market. And I don't expect the markets to crash just yet. I know there's people out there talking about crashes of the markets being very imminent. I don't think it's going to happen just yet. I think it's going to happen in 2013. 2013. But if the markets crash due to fiscal instability, or they can't, fund the government in essential areas and all this kind of crap, is that going to be bearish for gold or bullish? It's going to be very bullish for gold. Very bullish. Silver ain't 100% sure because it's like linked to gold, but then also it's linked to the economy. Now, I also want to state something about palladium and platinum. Another twist a lot of people aren't putting out there. Nobody puts out there. It's my own thought. If you were China, and they're buying up all this gold, and they're also the largest gold producer, gold is just something that stores wealth. It just sits there. But China is also the biggest commodity user in the entire world. They use up 60% of the commodities in the world. They're also going to be the biggest industrial engine in the world, probably. I don't know how long it'll take. Maybe it'll be by 2018, but they'll be the biggest industrial engine in the world. What do you think they must be doing with palladium and platinum? They don't have any mines in China that produce palladium and platinum. It only comes out of Russia and South Africa, pretty much all of it, right? I'd imagine they're buying it on the sly. I mean, I can't find any statistics really like that much on how much palladium buying is going on. But I almost expect at one point in time, palladium and platinum are going to explode in price, and along with silver. They're all going to explode at the same time. And I almost tend to think that palladium and platinum might even outperform them, especially palladium, because the price should be approximately the same as platinum. And, if you're looking at platinum at 1,600, palladium's at 600. So it's like roughly 35% of the price. But, like if China is hoarding gold, I think they're hoarding platinum and palladium too. You got to remember, they're an industry. They're an industry. And that's also an industrial. Those are big industrial metals, and they're also precious metals. They store wealth. So, I don't know what's going to happen in the future here exactly, but, if you look in the past, what happened with palladium at one time when there wasn't enough around? It went to 4 times the price of gold. So you might, I've been harping on this palladium for quite some time, but, you're looking at it today, it's dismal, right? And it's looked pretty dismal before. But is it going to pull back to 400, 500? I don't know. I don't think so, to tell you the truth. I don't think so. And, it's a matter of a long-term hold. That might be a smart maneuver to the max. Because just like people are hoarding supplies for Hurricane Sandy right now, I'd imagine the Chinese are hoarding supplies like platinum and palladium besides gold and silver. So, the West is going to be SOL on that type of stuff. That's all I got to say. And, it might be interesting, too, like a place like North American Palladium, PAL stock ticker, and Stillwater in the United States, which are two places that produce palladium. Maybe stocks, if that stuff becomes in short supply and goes up a lot, maybe stocks that jump up some astronomical amount, like 10 times or some garbage too. You don't know. You don't know what it's going to do. So, you know, stick with it. That's all I got to say. Stick with it, because this particular time period we're going through, the dollar is not safe. It isn't safe. I know it's not safe. It's like, it's like walking across the lake and the ice looks like it's really solid. It's not exactly that solid, because you got a lot of confidence because you've been walking across the lake for a couple miles now, and you're realizing, we haven't fallen through just yet. But I would definitely not put most of my eggs in a U.S. dollar. Keep some dollar reserves, but do not put most of your eggs in a U.S. dollar. Actually, I think if you're going to go 50% in metals, and you weren't even in metals yet at all, I would go 50% in metals. You're going to see a big rise in them. There's no doubt about it. But when the financial system falls through the ice, that's it. So that's the end game right there. So that's the reason you get silver too. It's not purely an investment. Not purely an investment. It's for the storm. It's when the fire takes off, and you're going to be ready to head for the hills or whatever the hell it is. Or just chill out. Just chill out and, just ride out the storm, as I said. Silver's like going to be the metal that's going to help you do that. It isn't going to be fiat dollars. I'll guarantee you that part. The dollar, you see, I like keeping a happy medium. The dollar is not going to crash to oblivion like in 2013. That, I'll state that. It's not going to crash to oblivion in 2013. But you got to start making your preparations. You don't have that much time now. I mean, it might be just 2 or 3 years, and then you're going to see the major difference. But even in 2013, hey, silver could very easily be up to the $100 an ounce, no problem, no doubt about it. Because the one place that was left, that's still strong, is the dollar. Gold and silver are actually doing pretty good against all the other currencies. It's not doing that great against the dollar. But when this fiscal cliff comes up, hang it up, hang it up. You know what that deal is. They're not going to be able to just shit out some money someplace, unless that's exactly what they do. They just produce it out of thin air. And, anything produced out of thin air doesn't really have worth. So they're not going to be able to run the government the way they were before, or keep the budget up, or the military up, and all this kind of garbage the way they were before. So, do expect the metals to actually take off quite a bit. But just do beware that if you get crazy gains, like if your silver doubles in, 3 months, you know what the silver blogger is going to be doing, trying to get you to buy hot and heavy, because it's going to double again. I don't know about that type of stuff. I'd be very cautious of that garbage. But anyway, silver's something that's going to help you ride out the storm. And just looking at how people do in normal times, they wait till the last minute. So, I'm not selling you any bullion or nothing, but I'm telling you, you should buy some if you don't have any. No doubt about it. And you should keep accumulating it, too. It's cheap enough right now, too. It is still cheap enough. $30, it's low.